What's up guys, welcome back. This is John and you're watching Old Stuff is Cool. So I've got my latest haul video for you today. I was in New York recently for both the 4th of July and to celebrate my mom's birthday. We're there for just about a week and had a chance to check out a new to me comic book store that was about probably just about 10-15 minutes away from my parents' place, and picked up quite a haul from there, including some gold books. But before we get into that fun find, I've got another mail call, and this comes from Comics for Cheap on Instagram. I've gotten some great books at great prices multiple times now from James, so happy to give him a shout out whenever I pick up some goodies. First one is a little mini series called Marvel Superhero Contest of Champions, and he was bundling issues 1, 2, and 3 for a very attractive $10. And I love me a good crossover, and was turned on to this one from Raph, another YouTube channel here who does some great content. I'll be sure to link him in the description. It seems like from the multiple videos I've watched from him that this was a very core comic book memory. And for me, Secret Wars, the original Secret Wars, very much is one of my core comic book memories, where it is very much like you get all your action figures from different parts of the Marvel universe in this case, and you get to mash them together. Good guys that battle bad guys they don't normally, and you get some cool moments. Secret Wars, upon rereading it, might not be the strongest story, but I still just have a lot of warm fuzzies for it. For Contest of Champions, I read it digitally after I kind of watched a video about Raph and how he kind of not gushed, because he's pretty actually very, very stoic in his delivery, but he spoke very fondly of it. So read it digitally, and the fact that this was kind of the first Marvel big crossover. The funny thing is that it was only the contest in Contest of Champions was only between the superheroes. However, the miniseries does contain some really classic art by John Romita Jr. It's early on in his career, and it hasn't evolved to the kind of blockier, chunkier style that we might know him for nowadays. But some great John Romita Jr. art here, and the writing credits when I looked it up include Stephen Grant, Mark Grunwald, and Bill Mantlo. Some pretty heavy hitters. There's a little history to this too, where it was supposed to coincide with one of the Olympics, but then there was a US boycott on it because of things that Russia was doing, so the series got delayed and probably reworked and released later on. Anyway, I love a good crossover. There's some cosmic elements here too, like the Grand Master, one of the Elders of the Universe, as well as Death herself. So it's definitely worth a read. It's only 3 issues. And the other book I got, the last remaining book I got from James, was the last part I need to complete my little Throg. Was it trilogy? I think it's 3 books. I got the Throg issues from Comics for Cheap in a previous sale, and was missing issue number 365. And this, completes that little Throg run. I love me some Throg. If you want a fun story, you want to see Thor turn to a frog and try to overcome his brother Loki, check out this storyline either in collected, digital, whatever format you might have access to. All right, so moving on. Going back to that recent trip to New York, Long Island is where I grew up, out in Suffolk County, and all of my comic book stores of my youth have since closed. Very sad, but also it's been a long time, over 30 years in some cases. However, I found myself with some downtime during the family visit, and decided to check out a comic book store that was only about 15 minutes away from my parents' house, and this shop is called Kyle's Comics. It was very interesting to find it because it's kind of located like this. It's a side basement entrance, a very it's not a huge space, but I feel like the guys that run the shop did the most with what they could. And a few key things to mention, and apologies for not getting any footage, because especially for a first time in a shop, I don't know, I feel a little awkward. Can I film? I just want to take it in. I mean, if it tells you anything, I went back to the store. I made 2 visits to the store. First time I went was like towards the end of closing. Had about just over an hour to browse, and not only did the shop have a great selection of wall books, but within the boxes, other than price as marked books, there were what was there? There were, I think, $2 books. There were 50-cent books, which in my parts I don't come across very often. And then one that I found really surprising was books that were marked for $10, but they were buy one get one free. So if you bought one, it'd be $10, but if you bought 2, it would still be $10. So needless to say, I had a lot of digging to do. The first day that I went in that visit, I quickly glanced and scanned the walls and went right to the 50-cent boxes. I mean, there's a reason for this, but there were a lot of goodies. There's a lot of stuff from the 90s that were in the box. Oh, and also, before I forget, shout out to Eric, who helps Kyle run the store. Very knowledgeable, very friendly, and we struck up a great conversation just as I was digging, sharing interests, what we're into, if we're looking forward to the Superman and Fantastic Four movies for this summer. Great overall experience. But let me share with you those first. First, we got a Batman issue, number 505. Picking up issues of Night Quest as I can, just to complete that run. Not all of Night Quest. I think I'm just kind of focused on the Batman issues. I know there's Detective Comics issues, but that might be a future quest. Then we've got Spider-Man 2099, issue 17. I'm trying to complete, I think, issues like 1 to 25, and I'm missing issues 17 through 20, so that kind of helps fill in that gap right there. We got a wedding issue, Incredible Hulk 418, The Marriage of Rick and Marlo. And this is I'm not used to this cover where usually it's, I guess this is a die cut, and you see the rest of the wedding party there. So I'm used to seeing the one where there's no die cut, and was kind of found this one interesting. It is a season for Superman, and so I got some Superman issues. Not too many, but I came in on Death of Superman, and during that whole hype, as many kids coming in in the 90s, probably too. Like, it's a weird thing to your first Superman comic that you're reading is Death and Return of Superman. But hey, that's what it is. That's what kind of scratches that itch for collecting. And we've got this right here, classic battle between Doomsday and Superman. There's actually a lot of Funeral for a Friend, Death of Superman issues that were in the bins, but I tried to keep it controlled. And I've got Superman number 74. This is the issue that precedes the famous Death of Superman issue, black poly bag, or where his cape is kind of tattered in the ground. I don't know. I've always really liked this cover too. And Doomsday, speaking of, like, he has so many, like, first cameo appearance, second cameo appearance, third cameo appearance, and like his green suit that totally conceals who he is slowly comes apart until it reveals the full-on Doomsday with the kind of the bone shards sticking out that we know and love. I don't know. I like Doomsday. So yeah, got that, and then I've been loving X Factor, as you guys know. So we got X Factor 52. And guys, this is a cover by Rob Liefeld, and there are in fact feet on this cover. Also, besides Archangel and Sabretooth here, it's very, I'll try to wrap my head around this. Sabretooth at this time, he wasn't the hulking, menacing figure that we know that I attribute to Jim Lee, I want to say, with that update in costume. Sabretooth was a lot more lean, and almost like, this reminds me of Age of Apocalypse Wild Child in look, and I don't, blame, it's just not just a Liefeld thing, that's kind of like how he looked. There's I think Acts of Vengeance issue I read recently of Daredevil, and very much Sabretooth has that look. It's amazing how over time the characters change and evolve, both in appearance as well as characterization. But I guess the main takeaway I want to leave with you guys is Rob Liefeld does sometimes draw feet. Yeah, who knew? Also, another missing X Factor issue I had in my Peter David run, X Factor 85, during the almost said the wrong crossover. Executioner song with a, I don't know, a very exciting cover here by Jay Lee. He might not be everyone's cup of tea. I came around on this style, and this was a kind of a cool, gritty cover right here. I think originally it might have been polybagged with a card too. And the weird thing is I still have the card, but my original copy did not make it. And then I'm also getting the associated annuals with Peter David's run. So I picked up X Factor Annual 8 here, and that's a fun read. The main story for this annual, it's really funny. There are all these kind of jokey villain characters during the Peter David run that like died unceremonious deaths throughout it, and they all come back with this rookie villain. Is it Charon? I'll make sure to put it down here, but let's keep going. Then for my last 50-cent find was this really surprising book of Alpha Flight 33, and this one, I believe this is the first appearance of Yuriko as Lady Deathstrike. So I know it goes for much more than 50 cents. And also I am picking up issues here and there of Alpha Flight. I've got issue number 1. I've got like the first published Marvel works of Jim Lee. First cover rather. I still need to get his actual first interiors, which is another issue of Alpha Flight, but also written by John Byrne. So, kind of good. Lady Deathstrike, interesting character, interesting Wolverine villain, and that's where she gets her start. Moving on, a little correction. I mentioned $2 books. What I meant to say was all the books marked as $5 were actually $2.50, and we got 3 books from those bins. I've got Havoc and Wolverine Meltdown issue 3. Trying to pick up this miniseries. I just have one more issue left after picking up this one here. And then we've got some X-Men vs. Avengers. And these are my first ones from this miniseries. But issue number 2, got a very sinister looking Magneto there in his newer costume, or new for the time costume, but his old helmet. Issue 2 there, as well as issue 4. This story primarily was dealing with a reformed Magneto, kind of helping out with the New Mutants on the side of the X-Men, but the Avengers want him to answer for his crimes. I mean, fair enough. Magneto did some bad stuff in his villain days. Now, getting issues 2 and 4, I need to find issues 1 and 3. So it's always good to have stuff to hunt for, right? And then next up are the $10 buy one get one free books. I was very happy to find Marvel 2-in-1 Thing and Moon Knight issue 52. This one features the first appearance of the villain Crossfire. And then we've got issue 54, which features Deathlock. And I need to double check this, but the first appearance of... there is a character named Titania, but it's not the one that we meet in Secret Wars. They're a bunch of female villain wrestlers. Yeah, some first appearances, always very nice, and I am collecting Marvel 2-in-1 as I find good prices. I knew these ones fetched a little bit more than $1, but to find them for a $5 each, very happy with that. And then from other characters I'm collecting, this was a great find, Captain America No More. Great cover. Great story arc in the Mark Gruenwald run of Captain America, issue 332. I have the issues following this, which introduces John Walker as a replacement Captain America, and was missing this one. So very happy to add that one to my Cap collection. And then we have Daredevil 254, the first appearance of Typhoid Mary. And they actually had, the cool thing was for many of these key issues, Kyle's Comics had them in multiple grades, and I feel like they were priced fairly. So I could have gotten a higher grade one. This one, I want to call mid, but it's better than mid grade. It's probably around like a 7, between the 7 and the 8.0 as far as grading goes. And I wanted to have kind of this part of the Ann Nocenti run for Daredevil. I am very much still figuring out whether I just really want to stick to trades and for Daredevil and pick up some issues here and there. I haven't landed exactly what I want to do, but it's flexible too. My collecting goals are flexible, and in general, if I find a good price for something, especially a cover I really like in good condition, I will probably pick it up, whether I do a full run or if it's just kind of piecemeal. Needless to say, there were a lot of great finds in different price points. And in the end, I actually got some wall books as well. One was on my goal book list for this year, and two weren't on the goal list, but they're on my overall collecting list for my Spider-Man run. I thought I would go for the cheaper books first, but I was able to bundle and save on these guys. We've got, for all you Todd McFarlane fans, Amazing Spider-Man, first up, $2.98. And this one, as well as the accompanying book, came with a clear backboard, which I think I've gotten one from a previous online purchase, but these are really cool. Obviously very solid, and yeah, given that these are typically at least $50 for a mid-grade, at least in my research and at the time of recording, they were not high priority because I knew they fetched quite a bit. Previously this year for my birthday, I picked up ASM 300, which was a huge find. So the Todd McFarlane run on Spider-Man was a kind of a long-term goal. It's not something that I want to finish necessarily in 2025. But again, bundling and saving is definitely the way to go. That has been a great lesson I've learned this year. So in addition to $2.98, I also got, I guess what some people list as the first appearance of Venom, Amazing Spider-Man $2.99, again with a clear backboard. And yeah, while these were not on the goal list, I mean, they were unofficially on the goal list. Didn't know I'd be walking away with these two. And I did make this, the way the purchases broke down, I did make this on my way out on that first day. Now, besides hunting and kind of combing through the 250 books and to really get a closer look at the $10 buy one get one books, this wall book made me come back to the store. This is really what really drove me to return, given that the shop was actually very open to working with you on prices, and I think very reasonable anyway. So this one is on the gold book. It's for my beloved X-Men collection for the Dark Phoenix saga. We've got issue 137, classic cover here. Unfortunately marred by the bicycle ad, but I mean, I think I just have blinders to it. A pivotal issue in the Dark Phoenix saga, Death of Jean Grey, and the culmination of that whole battle with the Shi'ar and whatnot. So the condition is excellent on this one, and they weren't charging an arm and a leg for it. And again, with my other purchases, was able to make it work. So very happy to have picked this one up as well. I can say that the total damage from my 2 visits of the store totaled $130. And I think given the books I got, what I usually see them at, the fact I could find these in person and work with a very, very friendly comic store, I think I got a great deal on these. I'm always a little hesitant to disclose prices because it's really subjective. Also, not trying to flaunt on how much I'm spending or not spending, but I do think that information is also helpful to know as fellow collectors or newer collectors might be tuning in to this video. So a big thank you to Kyle's Comics over in Smithtown, New York for such a great first 2 visits. Had a great time there, going through the bins and sharing with you guys my pickups from that trip. So that's my haul for this video. Let me know if you had a favorite. Let me know if you had any great scores or finds in your hunting down in the comments below. I really wanted to say thank you for tuning into this video. You can always check out another video here or here. And thank you for taking the time out to check out this video. I hope to catch you in the next one. Take care.